I'm an idiot. We did have some bets hit in the prize pool last week. Makapsu had Dolphins and Titans both head to head, but I was logged into the wrong account and missed it. So 24.05 added to the prize pool, getting so close to $400, and that puts Makapsu up to second in the contribution ladder there. He's absolutely killing it. I reckon it's not going to take long for him to find first place. So keep it up, bro. Well done. And sorry I missed your bet in the last video, but all fixed now. Let's move over to the teams. I've only just got home from work, so I haven't looked at any of this. There might be some surprises in here. Righto, starting with Tigers Raiders. So the Tigers have some troops back in the forwards. Fanua Pole returns after 3 games with a knee injury, pushing Sione Fainu to the bench. Alex Twal is also back. Talon De Silva has been added to the bench, with Charlie Murray and Kit Laui'i dropping to the reserves. So that's quite a big boost for the Tigers forward pack. You'd expect them to roll up the field a little bit easier with the return with Fanua Pole back. For the Raiders, Jet Stewart takes over Tamale, who injured his knee. Is that his NRL debut? I could have sworn he's already debuted, but maybe I'm wrong. There we go. After being 18th man 4 times this season, maybe he got a run in the trials or something. And Hudson Young named to back up from Wednesday night, which is a bit weird considering it's a Friday game. I can't imagine he will back up, especially if he has like a very physical game. But as someone who's looking at bringing in Hudson Young as a replacement for Ola Kawatu, maybe I'll just bite the bullet and do it. And if he plays, he plays. If he doesn't, he doesn't. I've got enough numbers anyway. Hopefully we see Owen Paddy get a few decent minutes in this game as well. Worth noting as well, Jerome Luai is also named to back up. Not the most Supercoach relevant, but definitely relevant for the Tigers. I think this could be actually a bit of a close game. I feel it just seems like one of those ones where you'd expect the Tigers to get pumped, but who knows, they might be up for it. Next up, we got the Wars and the Panthers. I can't imagine any of the Panthers' origin guns will be backing up and going over to New Zealand, which is what it looks like. So we'll have to come down here for the changes, I think. So we have another debutant. Moala Graham Tafua will play his first NRL game since round 22 last year. So not a debut, but it's been a while. Coming in for Kurt Capewell, who will be rested after Origin. Wade Egan returns from a hip injury at hooker, so Sam Healy moves to 18th man. Rocco Berry and Ali Leotawa remain sidelined. And for the Panthers, Dylan Edwards, Nathan Cleary, Isaiah Yeo, Brian To'o, and Liam Martin will all be rested. However, Lindsay Smith will still play. Dane Laurie comes in at fullback. Alamotti comes in on the wing. Brad Schneider at halfback. Papali'i starts in the back row. Matt Eisenhuth comes in at lock. Liam Henry back on the bench after serving his suspension, with Trent Talau, Luron Patea, and Luke Garner also on the bench. I feel like this is a very, very buy-round type of game. I think the Panthers are going to be paying very high, and I think I'll be backing them. The Wars have been up for a while. They may get a little bit of complacency coming into this game. And yeah, I like the Panthers at some long odds to get this one done. Dolphins Knights. If the last few weeks are anything to go off, the Dolphins are going to put 70 on them. The Dolphins have scored like 160, 170 points in the last 3 weeks. It is ridiculous. I think the Knights get pumped. So we're up to the Saturday here. So about 3 days of rest. I think it's a lot more likely that these Origin guns will actually back up, but definitely another week to keep an eye on your 24-hour squads so you don't get screwed over right before kickoff. So for the Dolphins, Tabuai Fido is named to back up from Origin 2, so Jake Avarillo reverts to centres and Max Figo to the reserves. Felice Kafusi is out suspended, so Mark Nichols starts in his place. Harrison Graham added to the bench, and Isaiah Katoa will captain the side for the first time. Isaiah Katoa is seriously becoming a run-home option with how he's going at the moment. It's not really converting into Supercoach points, how well he's actually playing, but he's so close to being like one of the best halfback options. For the Knights, Dom Young's back. So Dom Young is back and Bradman Best is also back. So all of a sudden, this 1-7 for the Knights is looking very strong. I like my purchase of Dane Gagai with Dom Young coming back. Maybe there's a few try assists in there for him, or just a support run and gets the try himself. So maybe the Knights don't get completely fucked. Maybe this is where they start to kind of piece their season together a little bit. So yep, Bradman Best back from his hammy. Kalen Ponga named to back up. Fletcher Sharp goes back to 5/8, having recovered from a calf injury that sidelined him last week. Tyson Frizzell back from a concussion, pushing Brodie Jones back to the bench. James Schiller gets moved to 18th man after a couple of really good weeks, and Fletcher Hunt, Cole McCarthy, and Jacko Hastings all drop to reserves. So maybe it's starting to come together for the Knights. Who the fuck knows? We'll have to wait and see. Rabbitohs Storm, similar story. It's on the Saturday, so decent chance these guns actually do back up from Origin. So yep, Latrell Mitchell named to back up from Origin. Cody Walker and Campbell Graham both listed among the reserves, so they may get back on the pitch fairly soon. Keon Koloamatangi also on the reserves, but he won't play. But the fact that he is on the reserves is a good sign that hopefully it's not too long of a stint on the sidelines for him. David Moali moves into the starting side and Sean Kepi joins the bench. And a bunch of names we don't care about in a Supercoach sense. For the Storm, we thought there may have been a world where a couple of the Storm guns got rested, and they still might. Bellyache's a bit tricky with this around Origin time. So it was, I believe, Harry Grant and Xavier Coates that got the rest last time. So there is a chance that Munster, Liero, Stefano, one of them, a few of them might get a rest. So definitely have a close eye on that if that's a very important number for you this week. And the only other change is Bronson Garlick joining the bench for fucking who? Atavalu Lisati. Atavalu Lisati. That's a cool name. And Alec McDonald in the reserves, whatever. Dolphins Sharks. This could be an interesting game. Sharks need to refine their vein of form. Broncos are just finding theirs. I think this one could be quite an entertaining one. Carrigan and Haas both named to back up 4 days after they go toe-to-toe in Origin 2, so pretty safe bet that they will play. But you can't expect the same output from them as a regular week. So even like a 50 or a 60 from Payne Haas would be good enough. Jack Kashevsky's back after a fractured arm and takes over Takura, who had surgery last week on a syndesmosis injury. Ben Hunt remains sidelined. Cobo listed amongst the reserves as he looks to break back into the side after 2 weeks in Queensland Cup. New recruit on the extended bench, whatever. For the Sharks, they've finally done it. Talakai to the centres. So I'm pretty sure he's still fairly cheap. Any Hiroti owners, if you really don't have much money to make a replacement, Talakai is probably a safe bet. And he has historically gone huge a few times, so who knows, maybe he's still got that in the kit. Daniel Atkinson joins the bench in the only change, blah, blah, blah. Let's go have a look at how much Talakai is. Talakai, 303k, break even of 14, set to go up. That all looks pretty good to me. 300k for Talakai, I like. Let's just double check his job security. So Stone Street and Hiroti set to come back in round 19 and 20 respectively. So for Talakai, you'll get 16, 17, and 18 out of them, provided the Sharks actually play all those games. Sharks, 16, 17, don't play 18. Okay, so if you're going Talakai, it's a 2-week play. Then he misses round 18, and round 19 probably goes back to the bench or out of the squad altogether. So if you're desperate, he's there, he's easy to get in, he's a decent number, he's got okay Origin coverage. I think if you're desperate is probably the only time you do that. It's a little bit of a frivolous trade to bring in a 300k guy for 2 weeks and then lose him again. I can't recommend it, but I can see scenarios where it's your only option. Roosters Cowboys. I think this could also be a very entertaining game. For the Roosters, Toya, Collins, Watson, Crichton, and Lenu have all been named to play. Toya's return sees Nuakanitawasi push out to the wing to fill the hole left by Dom Young's departure to the Knights. That is huge. Nuakanitawasi on the wing is so much better. I've already got him in my team. He's about 680k from memory, and I think if he is expected to play on the wing for the rest of the year, I think that makes him a fine buy. When he was at centre, 700k is a little bit much for him, but on the wing, I'm all aboard that. If you can make it work, go for it, but I wouldn't be pulling your team apart to get him in. The shuffle up in the pack sees Sua Wong, Nafahu White, and Feketi retain their spots, while Makahesi Makatoa and Taylor Losalu drop to the reserves, while Victor Radley and Egan Butcher have entered the concussion protocols. So all good news in terms of the relevant Roosters guys that we need Origin cover for. So that's the Roosters. Onto the Cowboys. Viliama Vailea's return from suspension pushes Braden Burns to the reserves, while back rower John Bateman is also back from a 1-game ban. Origin stars Dearden, Robson, Nanai, and Cotter have all been named to back up, but Taumalolo is out with a reoccurrence of a calf injury. Harrison Edwards and Sam McIntyre go to the bench after starting last week, so Caden Lars and Tom Duffy drop to the reserves. Nothing too relevant there, other than maybe some people who could have had a Sam Edwards or a Sam McIntyre. They've both been pretty good options this year, but them going back to the bench probably means they're a sell. So nothing too crazy going on there. Eels Titans, what changes do we have here? Eels, the loss of halves, Mitch Moses. Oh shit, the Eels are missing both their halves. Oh dear. Joash Papali'li and Dean Hawkins coming in. Fucking good luck, boys. Take control of the 6 and 7, blah, blah, blah. Zach Lomax will back up from Origin 2, provided he comes through with a clean bill of health. Wiramu Greg has been added to the bench for his first NRL appearance since round 24 last year. We've seen how the Eels go with one of their halves out. I think this could be an absolute bloodbath. And the Titans have proven that they can put points on. They did last week, but granted, that was against a fucking terrible Sea Eagles side that I'm so glad I don't have to watch play this week. I need this bye for my mental health. For the Titans, Fasul Malawi and Foduweka have been named on the interchange bench as they look to back up from Origin 2 on Wednesday night. My selling of Tino was an absolute masterclass. I didn't think it was going to go this well. He's been scoring a lot lower than normal, which is to be expected when you're backing up from Origin. But now that he's actually starting on the bench, I am very glad I don't have him. If you've held on to him at this point, it's probably a bit late to sell. He would have already lost some cash. If you want to bring him back in, that's a second trade to get him back in. If you've got him, I just think hold on to him. And David Fafita has been named at 18th man to return after ankle surgery last month. Jojo Fafita returns from a hand injury in the centres, so Brian Kelly makes way. It was always going to happen at some point this year, the David Fafita play. That's going to be a terrifying decision to make because we know how high and how low he can go. So that's it for the teams list this week. Don't forget, we've got a $10 budget for punts on Origin tomorrow night. So leave a comment with your Origin bets and I will put all of them on, and if they get up, the money gets added to the prize pool for the end of the year. And since you've really only got 24 hours to do that, if there isn't any comments, I'm just going to put it on New South Wales 13+. Sweet, I need to get out of here and go feed my girlfriend before she gets angry. Good luck in round 16, Uru.